Did y'all see that video stating that they don't understand why people are still trying to have kids how the world is? What they mean by, I gotta talk the way I talk because y'all know I'm on this platform. There are instances that's not being shown and is filtered to us. There is battles happening over other waters not happening to us that we don't know about, right? Then I went down this rabbit hole. Do y'all know about this website? This website literally tells you every conflict and casualties that's happening in real life. They give you an amount of across all the countries, 7 days, the last 30 days, the last month, over the course of years. There's a lot of stuff happening and it's gonna create a number 3 situation. Do y'all know about this? So first it's the food. Now it's the multiple blackouts that have been happening across over the course of the last couple of days. Now it's the battles that's happening overseas that they're not talking about being filtered. And they actually have websites and heat maps, casualties overseas that's happening in real life that's going to create another situation of 3. Talking about, dropping in the comments. Because in that video, they want you to populate, it was pushing to populate world again because they know that eventually it's going to end and they need that new generation here. I'll be back.
Go on Indeed.com right now. In your city or any other city, type in surveillance role players and let me know what you find. Let me know what the job description is.
Okay, so the different timelines you said about.
Yeah.
How do you see how they work? How do they interact? Where are they?
Okay. I'm going to show you because it's easier to describe it. Okay. So, Earth. Okay. Earth. 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 Here's the split. Earth. 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 Okay, each one of these Earths is a different timeline. Okay, here is reaching into the negativity and here is into the positivity. Okay, and they are all running concurrently, simultaneously with one another. And as we are moving closer towards the split, these timelines are converging into one. Okay, so this is going like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then like this, until eventually we get to the point of the split. Now here is the important part. On each of these positive timelines, you get an accumulation of karma. The same for the negativity. As they converge, you are going to get things happen. This is the Mandela effect. So the Mandela effect that you see are the convergences of all the different timelines. They're similar enough in all these other timelines, but different. So as the realities merge together, you will notice differences. This is what deja vu is. Deja vu is your memory within another timeline, like it's already happened. It's where something's just converged. Those deja vu moments is you converging with another timeline.
Because it's already happened, but in a different timeline.
Correct, and it's similar enough for you to go, I feel like this has happened before. So each time you sense deja vu, it's a conversion of the two Earths.
They're merging together.
They're merging together. And as we're getting closer to the spearhead of the split, you're going to have less versions of Earth because we're getting closer to the point. So there comes to a point where there is just 2 Earths. You have one positive and one version of negative. If you have reduced your negativity and you are positive, this is the evolution of humanity. Everyone who exists within this timeline transcends to the next. Everyone that exists on this timeline will reduce down to the more dense reality. This is the split, and then the process will begin again. This will then split into both positivity and negativity, and each time it grows and expands.
So it just happens again and again and again.
And the same on the negative cycle. The negative cycle in the more dense realm will be happening simultaneously as the other. This is the multiverse as you know it. And it gets to a point, an epoch of time will pass, and the same thing replicates through each layer.
But do we still exist in both?
No. If you have shifted from here to here, you will not ever want to return back.
But what about our friends and family who might not shift with us?
The ones that are not going to shift will simply cease to exist within the timeline.
They'll just disappear,
It will look like disappearances, yes. So, think of it like this. At the minute, the majority of humanity is actually on the positive timeline, okay? So let's go back to the original timeline. Here's the split. So, if you have just 2 versions of Earth, positive and negative, let's say that 90% of humanity is positive and only 10% is doomed to fall to the next realm. When this happens, can you imagine what it's going to be like for those left on the planet where 90% of the population just cease to exist? You're going to be causing mass panic and chaos, which will further spiral within the negativity. So as a split happens and a mass disappearance happens, this will cause huge panic for the people left behind. The apocalypse, as is prophesied throughout the ages. Whereas here, as you elevate, you will become aware of the splits because you are aligned with it, and you will know that the ones that are no longer here are the ones that dropped.
And we will remember them and miss them.
And we will remember them and miss them, correct. And what our purpose is, as we evolve to the next epoch of time, is to send helpers at the crucial pivotal moments in humanity's evolution to assist those stuck to transcend on the next. That's it.
So, and what about, because there have been cases people have seen about sort of overlapping of timelines, not just with deja vu, but seeing things or seeing people.
Yeah.
Is that the same?
Yeah, that's all the same. The overlapping of the timelines is the convergence. So it's an expansion and then a contraction. We're currently in the final stages of the contraction.
And what about when people sort of, so some people that have like worked in bars or pubs and then they've it's like, maybe not time, but been transported back in time to like Victorian type ages for a split second and seen like people dressed up as, what do you think of that?
So you have to remember, linear time doesn't exist. It only exists when you're in this version of reality. This construct of reality it appears as linear time. When you sit above it, in this lower dense realm, time has to move in one direction. And that's all you can do. You're born and then you die. And that's it. And then you're born and you die. Now, your soul, when it comes up to this level, it can go back to any point in time. But once it's in that simulation, the game, if you like, you've got to play it through to the end. So you can incarnate at any point, but you've got to see that lifetime through.
So we could, if we got to the right level, we could...
When we elevate and we're sitting up here, once the split happens, we can view the timeline in any direction we want. Linear time, it just is for us. Time is not a construct that has to go from front to back. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So we can see this timeline at any location. Not only just this timeline, but each version of Earth and each linear path at each point we can see from up here.
You can view it and
we can view it,
observe.
correct. It's not as simple as one simple time or one place. It is multiple different versions of reality happening simultaneously, and we are able to see that from above. You simply cannot do that from here. You have to, in the same way as if you was to have two planes with radar pinning down and they're scanning the floor, that can be, you can pick anything up from below you, but you simply can't scan the skies above you. You have to have the radar flipped upside down, in which case you wouldn't be able to see the things below you. Whereas if we're sitting above from a different location, we can see everything that the plane can see, including the plane itself. That is a very crude explanation for what I'm trying to say. We're above that, what you can see, and therefore we have a greater perspective of everything.
And how do we know for sure, is there a way of knowing for sure if we are going to have more positivity and be able to get to that point?
If you're hearing this message, you're on the positive time. That's it.
This is what happened. I accidentally threw a piece of this out with me and my grandson, right? So this is what I'm gonna do. Nestle, sandwiches, vanilla. I got them at the dollar store. Hold on, I'm gonna open this. Okay, I just opened it, okay? Here's the wrapper. Now, watch this. My grill is at, what is that, 200, almost 250, 240, whatever it is, okay? I ain't done yet. Let it get hot. Let it get a little hot. Now remember, the ice cream, I just took it out. Here's the ice cream. Put it on the grill. I'm gonna grill some ice cream right now. This stuff is not melting at all. It's cooking. This is ice cream I gave my grandson. If I did not throw part of this away, and 2 days later I come out and it's still there and the ants were eating it, look at this. It's not even melting. And again, hold on, let me close it. It's on the grill. The grill is lit. Y'all can see the fire. Temperature's climbing. It's hot outside. There we go. Look. It's burning. That's about it. So you want some fried ice cream?
So I want to tell y'all something. And I've been wanting to tell y'all something, but I didn't want y'all to think I was crazy. Now, I've been talking about CERN and alternate dimensions and timeline shifting, and you guys have been so receptive to it. You have been so loving and so caring and so kind and understanding of my experiences. And you have been open to your own experiences, and I appreciate and love y'all for it. So I'm going to tell y'all what happened to me to make me think that this is real. Now, mind you, quite a few things have happened to me, but this is the thing that made me believe aliens or whatever. So story time. I made a friend on TikTok who claimed to be Anunnaki, and she said that I was Anunnaki too. Now, I don't think she's crazy. I think she sees something that I don't see, which is okay. Now, this is around the time when people were starting to say that Nibiru was coming back, and as some of you know, I talked to my ancestors. Yes, dead people. So I'm in my house laying on my couch, and in my mind's eye, at my back door outside, I see, I think, 3 people standing on my back porch. Now, they're not people, and they look black. They look... And in my mind's eye, they're knocking on my door, but they're not physically even raising their hands, but they're knocking on my door. Now, this was right after my friend had told me that I needed to start talking and asking questions to the Anunnaki. So I see these melanated beings on my back door in my mind's eye, not in physical light, and they say, "We are here." And I say out loud, "What the fuck you mean you here? Who are you? Why are you at my house?" Because as far as I'm concerned, it's some random spirits at my door. And they say, "We," you know we. And I feel the word Anunnaki, but nobody says Anunnaki, but I feel it. So now I'm remembering what my friend said to me, that you can talk to them, ask them questions. So because I think I'm crazy, I say, okay, if you're really the Anunnaki, then tell me something I don't know. And they say, we can't tell you something you don't know if you don't have a question. Pick a question, any question. So I decide to ask something that I'm not sure. I asked them, how many main Anunnaki gods are there? Based on research I did about the Anunnaki, at the time I was vaguely remembering the number 12. So I asked a question and the response I get back is 13. And I say to myself, I must be crazy because the answer is 12. So I consign to myself that I'm crazy. But then something kept poking me to Google it. Now this isn't the exact screenshot, but this is pretty much what I got. It says ancient divine councils often utilized a 12-seat court presided over by a supreme ruler, bringing the total count to 13. It says the highest ruling body of the Anunnaki is traditionally recognized as a council of 12. But again, because the council was ruled over by a supreme leader, the number is 13. Of course, I'm laying on my couch like, So then I say, okay, if I'm Anunnaki, then prove it. Bitch. This same friend sends me a video of a man talking about the gematria. So the gematria is an ancient Jewish system that assigns a numerical value to a word or phrase. So basically it's like a codex. You put in a name, a word, or phrase, and it gives you past, present, and future words associated with that name. So when she showed this to me, I decided to put my name in. And this is what I found. If anybody knows, my great-grandfather was a Mason. Anunnaki is under my name twice. And then at the bottom it says, hello there. Now what would you think? Tell me! What would you think? How would you feel? Where would your mind be at?
At the heart of this story is a question that has fascinated us for a long time. How do we understand experiences that feel deeply meaningful, especially when they happen in ways that are difficult to explain? This video begins with a discussion around CERN, alternate dimensions, timeline shifts, and the possibility that reality may have layers beyond what we can immediately perceive. And honestly, this idea is something we've explored throughout history. Different cultures have always had their own understanding of unseen realms. Some traditions speak about ancestors, others talk about spirits, gods, higher beings, even different levels of consciousness. The names may change depending on the culture, but the curiosity is the same. Is there more to existence than what our physical senses can detect? That question is what leads into the personal experience shared in this clip. The lady in the video describes an encounter where three dark, melanated spiritual beings appeared during a moment of relaxation. She describes communicating with them and receiving information about the Anunnaki, including the number 13 being extremely significant. Now, experiences like this are fascinating because throughout history, people have described encounters during prayer, meditation, even spiritual practices, and altered states of awareness. The way someone interprets these experiences often depends on their personal beliefs. Some may see them as a spiritual connection, others may view them as messages from the subconscious mind. Some may look at them through the lens of psychology and the way the brain creates meaning through symbols. But regardless of the explanation, I think there's something important to recognize. The human mind is incredibly powerful. Our inner world can create experiences that feel vivid, emotional, and deeply personal. Then, then the conversation moves into the number 13 and the connection she makes after researching the idea of divine councils. This part really caught my attention because numbers have carried symbolic meaning across cultures for thousands of years. The number 12 appears repeatedly throughout history. 12 months, 12 zodiac signs, 12 disciples, 12 tribes. It's often associated with order, structure, and completion. So the number 13 naturally stands out because it represents something beyond that established pattern, something different, something outside the familiar. That's part of why certain numbers become spiritually significant to different groups of people. Then the video moves into gematria. For anyone unfamiliar, gematria is a system that assigns numerical values to letters and words, creating connections between names, phrases, and meanings. This practice has been used in different traditions throughout history, especially specifically with Jewish mystical teachings. What I find interesting about systems like gematria is how they show our natural human desire to recognize patterns. We're constantly looking for connections. It's how we understand the world around us. Sometimes those patterns lead to meaningful personal insights. Other times, they may simply be interesting associations our minds notice. And this is where discernment becomes important. Spiritual exploration isn't just about accepting every sign or symbol that appears. It's also about taking time to reflect. Why does this stand out to me? What meaning does this hold in my own life? Is this encouraging growth and awareness? Or am I only seeing what confirms what I already believe? Trust me, those questions right there matter. Because the deeper value in conversations like this isn't always about proving every detail right or wrong. Sometimes it's about exploring why these ideas connect with so many people. The Anunnaki, ancient civilizations, hidden knowledge, and spiritual encounters all tap into something very human: the desire to understand our origins, the desire to know if there is more to existence than what we see, the desire to feel connected to something greater. And maybe that's why these topics continue to capture people's imagination, because underneath all the theories and interpretations, we're still asking the same questions humanity has asked for generations. Who are we? Where do we come from? And what else exists beyond what we can experience with our physical senses? Maybe the journey isn't only about finding the answers. Maybe it's also about expanding our awareness enough to keep asking the deeper questions.
Fresh bag of chips, unopened. Let's get it. I love our president. In fact, he's the greatest president that has ever lived. What the hell, bro? I'm not even lying. Damn! Come on, Cieto. The frick is your problem? Why is it that right before Donald Trump became president, he told the Christians to get out and vote, that you won't have to vote anymore? Why did he tell the Christians that he's not Christian and everyone voted for him that was Christian? All right, listen. I know you guys are like, yo, come on, yo. We already knew that, yo. That's boring. That's boring. Okay, it's boring? All right. If Donald Trump is to be the last president, what year would that be? Maybe 2029? So the next president would have to get installed in what, 2030? No. Y'all missing it. Didn't CERN just shut down and say they're not opening back up until the end of 2029, 2030? So I ask you the question, what does everybody know? Is there something coming? These are the questions I'm asking you. Aaron, get down. I know you saw him. In fact, speaking of Donald Trump, why is it that Martin Lawrence in 1999 was screaming out with a gun waving in the air saying they trying to kill him? And then we get Bad Boys 3, and in Bad Boys 3, it doesn't seem like that's Martin Lawrence anymore. Could he be? I don't know. I'm asking you. I don't know. Hold on. Hi. Am I not allowed to do this? Yeah. You about to be on TikTok, so you might want to check this. Nah. Nah, just doing a video. It's all good. Bye. Let's get back to what we talking about. Okay? Okay, I gotta cut the video. Bye.
Politics, CERN, the future, celebrities, and the bigger question of whether things are happening behind the scenes that most people aren't paying attention to. Now, whenever we talk about things like this, I always think it's important to separate what we know happened from the theories people build around those events. Because sometimes the most interesting conversations come from asking questions, not automatically believing every single thing, but also not being afraid to explore why certain ideas catch people's attention. We start off with the statement made by Trump at the Believer Summit, where he told Christian voters to vote just this time and mentioned that they wouldn't have to vote anymore because it'll be fixed in the future. That statement definitely caused a lot of conversation online and speculation. Some people saw it as a political comment. Other people heard something deeper in the wording and started asking questions about what that could mean. And that's where this clip starts moving into the theory of Trump being some type of last president and what that timeline could look like. Think about the years 2029 and 2030 and then connect that idea to CERN. Now, CERN is one of those things that has fascinated people for years because when you hear about scientists studying particles, dimensions, and the building blocks of reality, it will naturally make people curious. Like, what are they trying to do? What are they learning about the universe? Are there things about reality that we don't fully understand yet? We definitely know that there are things about reality that we don't fully understand yet. The theories concerning CERN to major world events are just that. They're theories. There isn't evidence proving that CERN is connected to future global changes or hidden agendas. But I do understand why people are drawn to these conversations. Because whenever humanity encounters something powerful that we don't fully understand, curiosity naturally kicks in. We've always been like that. We look at the stars and wonder what's out there. We study the ocean and wonder what we have not discovered, like what's underneath there. We explore the universe and wonder if there's more than what we can see. And I think that curiosity is part of what makes us human. And then there's the topic of Martin Lawrence and the idea of celebrities being replaced by body doubles. Now, this theory has been discussed quite a bit over the years. You know, people notice changes. Maybe someone's appearance looks different, maybe their personality is different, or their energy feels off. People are going to start asking questions. Now, sometimes there are simple explanations. People age, people going through stuff out here. Even the celebrities, yes. People going through stuff. Their health changes, the lifestyle could change. We all evolve. But I also think the reason these theories become so interesting is because celebrities are people that we've watched for years. When you've seen someone for decades, even small changes could stand out. And it brings up another really interesting conversation. How much of what we perceive is based on our own memory and expectations? Because perception is powerful. Two people can watch the same event and walk away with completely different interpretations. That's true in everyday life. It's true in relationships, even in how we view the world. And honestly, I think that's where the deeper spiritual conversation comes in. Discernment, being able to explore ideas without immediately accepting everything as fact, being able to question things without becoming consumed by fear, because there is a difference between awareness and paranoia. There is a difference between curiosity and assuming every unknown thing has a hidden meaning. And I think finding that balance is important. For me, the most interesting part of clips like this isn't always whether every theory is proven true or false. Sometimes it's asking, why are people feeling like something is changing? Why are so many people questioning systems, institutions, even the information that they're receiving? Why are people searching for deeper answers? Because underneath all of these conversations, there's a very human desire, the desire to understand, to feel awake, to know that we're paying attention and not just moving through life on autopilot. And maybe that's why these topics continue to spark so much discussion. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to make sense of this experience. We're all trying to just understand the world around us. And we're all asking in our own way, what is really happening? And how do we become more aware? There is so much more to reality than what we experience on the surface. We discussed questions about timelines, CERN, future possibilities, whether there are things happening behind the scenes that we don't fully understand. We also discussed personal spiritual experiences, symbolism, ancient beings, and the idea that consciousness may be capable of connecting with something far beyond our everyday awareness. And whether someone watches these clips and believe every detail or simply finds them interesting, I think they both tap into something very human, the desire to know and to understand where we come from, the desire to feel like there is a deeper meaning behind this experience that we call life. Because honestly, I think a lot of people who are drawn to these topics aren't just looking for random theories, they're searching for connection. They're searching for answers to questions that they've had their entire lives. Questions like, why are we here? What is consciousness? What really is consciousness? Are we only physical beings having a temporary experience? Or is there something much bigger happening that we don't fully understand yet? Those are questions we have been asking forever. Ancient civilizations, they looked at the stars, they studied cycles of nature, they created stories about gods, beings, and creation. They tried to understand the relationship between humanity and the universe. And even today, we're still doing the exact same thing. We may use different words, we may have different beliefs, but that curiosity is still there. I think that's why conversations about the Anunnaki and consciousness continue to interest people, because underneath all of those subjects is a deeper question. What if we are more connected to the universe than we realize? Now, something I always think about when exploring these types of ideas is the importance of staying open while at the same time staying grounded. Because curiosity is a powerful thing. Curiosity can lead you to new information, it can introduce you to perspectives that you never considered. It can challenge beliefs you've carried for years, but discernment is just as important. Not every experience has one fixed explanation. Not every symbol has one guaranteed meaning. Sometimes the value is not only in finding an answer, sometimes it's in the reflection that happens along the way. For example, when someone talks about seeing spiritual beings or receiving messages or experiencing something beyond the physical world, I think the most interesting question isn't always, can someone else prove that this happened? Sometimes the deeper question is, what did this experience awaken within this person? Did it create more awareness? Did it inspire personal growth? Because at the end of the day, our experiences shape us. The moments that challenge us, the moments that make us question, even look deeper. And I think that's what a lot of these conversations are really about: awareness, becoming more conscious of how we view ourselves and the world around us, not living on autopilot, not simply accepting everything that we're told without thinking for ourselves, but also not allowing fear to control our search for understanding. There is a balance. You can explore the mysteries of life while still being present in your own reality. You can ask big questions while still appreciating the simple things. And honestly, I think that's where the real transformation happens, because spiritual growth isn't just about discovering hidden information, it's about discovering yourself. The more we learn about the world, the more we end up learning about our own consciousness, our own beliefs, our own potential. So, I hope something in this video may have encouraged you to think a little deeper, not necessarily to have all the answers, but to stay curious, because sometimes one question can open a door that you didn't even know existed. And maybe that's the whole point of the journey. We're all just trying to understand this strange experience while we are here on Earth. So, with that being said, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe consciousness is capable of connecting with something beyond the physical world? Do you think humanity is entering a time we're beginning to question reality on a deeper level? Or do you see these ideas from a completely different perspective? Share your thoughts with me below in the comments. And until next time, I love you, and I will see you on the very next video.